Victory! Enjoying myself some Mead. There we go. Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing today? I'm your host, Adam Ortega, and welcome back to another episode of the Mind of Mando. For you OGs out there, for you who have been around since the very beginning and early days of Call of Duty, might have recognized that little tune right there. A little bit familiar. You guys know where it's from? Let me tell you. It's actually the... oh, look at me. I stopped it like a dummy. And my buddies messaging me. It is from the main theme of Call of Duty Black Ops 2. The main, theme and everything. I just said it. It's one of my favorites. You know, I don't know why. I don't know. It's not that. Me personally, my opinion is, I feel like the first Black Ops game, the multiplayer was an amazing music, but Black Ops 2 gameplay, multiplayer, zombies mode, and story just upped everything. And not only that, they made the music just that much better. Oh, quick fact, Black Ops 2 came out in like 2012. Yeah. The story mode takes place in 2025. You know, back in the day, I just barely graduated high school when it came out. I thought it was so far away. That's the future. That's what we're going to have in the future. It's 2022 now. We're like literally 3 years away from 2025. And I'm not surprised if we have that tech. 1 second. Oh my God, that tastes so good. Oh man. Quick update before I get into what I'm going to talk about today. Last episode, I just want to make a correction and an update. So the correction is that last episode, I kept saying that it was Adam Sessler and Candace Bailey who hosted X-Play on G4. That was incorrect. Candace Bailey co-hosted Attack of the Show towards the end of its run. I think after Olivia Munn left and everything to either pursue more acting or got pregnant. I forgot what. So Candace Bailey was the co-host of Attack of the Show. It was Morgan Webb who was the co-host of X-Play. Morgan Webb, also an absolutely lovely woman. She's amazing. I don't know what she's been up to, but Morgan Webb was a real one for reals. All right. Second thing. Last episode, I said that Frosk, it's been official. She's been let go of the company. And I said, I don't wish Adam Sessler any failures or anything. Honestly, I wish it was just how it used to be back in the day about gaming and gaming only. Well, I'm not saying this has happened because I have yet to get a straight answer, but it's been going around that he got fired again. Yes, I said again, back in 2012 or 2013, one of those two, after one of his signing off of his episodes of X-Play, you see him drastically take a look at the right and everything like that. It's on YouTube also, like shortly after it happened. And the reason for that is because he drastically looked towards the right, towards signing off of the episode of X-Play, because he saw his boss walk in. And the story goes that after the sign-off happened, after the camera zoomed out, after the show ended, he was called into his dressing room. And that's where they spoke to him. And he got laid off right then and there. And yeah, so I guess from what I hear, it's happened again. If you hear any of the noises aside from music, one, it's because that song I was playing ended, but two, it was because I have my dishwasher running. It used to be my freaking dryer also, but that finished right before I started recording. All right, let me play the first Black Ops game multiplayer music. 1 second. See if you guys remember this. I'll just keep talking though. Oh, there we go. Oh, here it is. Oh my god, the memories. Honestly, the memories I have about this game is my family didn't let me play violent video games when I was in high school or anything like that. Like, the most violent video games I got to play was X-Men Origins Wolverine Uncaged Edition. I had to sneak playing everything else though. One of my sisters actually enjoyed watching me play Gears of War 2. Well, anyways, this theme song just reminds me of just after I finished high school, when I lived in Oakland for a while and everything, and just like on the weekends without school or anything, just prepping for the future, just playing this online on the most suckish internet I've ever had. But yeah, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so it's just rumors. Honestly, I'm gonna chalk it down as just rumors. I haven't been able to get a clear answer. As far as I've been seeing, everybody who's been talking about the recent Adam Sessler stuff, it's just speculation or something like that. If I'm wrong, please let me know. So yeah, moving on to today's topics. Quick note. I am drinking Mead right now. Literally the first time in my life that I ever had Mead in my home. That is because Saturday, I got off of work and I came home. My lady was home and everything like that. And I was just like, I want to take you out. She's like, oh yeah, really? Let's go. She got ready. She looked really nice in her dress. I liked her. And we went to this one meadery, in the area. And yeah, it was delicious. We both had flights. I liked 4 out of the 6 and everything like that that were there. And the one I have right now is by far my favorite one throughout from that entire flight, because it is, of course, honey, because it's Mead, but it has peaches, ginger, and lemon. 3 of my favorite things. 1 second. Oh my god, delicious. I had to get a growler of that. It's pretty pricey, but I mean, it is California. But honestly, worth it. Love it. It's a special occasion drink. I'm gonna treat it like that because it's just so good. So yeah. Other than that, I have 2 or 3 things I want to talk about today. One happened towards the end of last year, and the other one happened, I think, just a few days ago, if I'm not mistaken. So the first topic, it happened. Let me see if I can search it up. It happened in New Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. I searched it up. There we go. Boom. All right, let me pull up this article. I read it today, but it happened towards of November of last year. At least that's when it was reported. New Mexico, yeah, southeastern New Mexico. So there was a story that happened in southeastern New Mexico last year around November. What happened, there was these 2 neighbors. These 2 neighbors, like any other neighbor story, didn't get along. They were, just bickering and fighting and everything like that. At first, the reason wasn't given to us. So, the information that was given about was basically the perspective of one neighbor. So essentially what had happened is one day, one of the neighbors woke up and they found that their dog was missing. They couldn't find it. They tried looking around everywhere for their dog, couldn't find their dog. And then one of them was like, oh yeah, our dog has a GPS on its collar. It was wearing it because the dog wore it at all times from the last I read. So they, of course, went and started trying to track the history of that GPS. And they were finally managed to, at least from reports saying that they pinpointed the location of the GPS to have been at the neighbors that they were feuding with. So they're all like, where's my dog? Where's my dog? The neighbors confronted the ones that supposedly took the dog. And the wife in that house told them, get off my property. Get out of here. This, and that. Of course, the owners of the dog, let's call them neighbor A. All right. And then we'll call the other neighbors, the one that are allegedly that took the dog, neighbor B. So neighbor A gathers the evidence that they can, and they make a report with the police department. Neighbor A decides to go to neighbors B place of business, which is a firearms store. So they go to that store and they start confronting neighbor B, the husband and the wife, and they're like, you took my dog, where's my dog, this and that. And they're like, we don't have your dog. What are you talking about? We never had your dog or anything like that. Neighbor A is adamant to get their dog back. Where's my dog? You took my dog. Neighbor B continues saying they don't have the dog. They never had their dog. Neighbor A drops this piece of information, which was our dog had a GPS collar on, and we tracked that collar everywhere that it went. You see neighbor B's face drop, like, oh crap, how do you say it? They give more information on the GPS history towards the police. They start driving everywhere to where the GPS was located. They ended up finding the collar a few miles away, I believe, at a casino in the dirt. But there was no dog around the collar at all whatsoever. I don't know how much time had passed. I would say either from a few hours to just a few days had passed, and neighbor A found their dog on a road. And they're like, oh crap, we found our dog. They go up to their dog and they realize their dog is dead because there's a bullet in the back of its head. So now neighbor A is angry because they know neighbor B did this. They reported what their findings to the police. Police came out, did what they needed to do. And one thing that police do, or the forensics team does, is when there's a bullet, firearms involved, they retrieve the bullet, or what they can of the bullet, and they study what kind it was, from what weapon it was fired, this and that. And if it was bought from, a firearm place, who bought that type of ammo, this and that. Police declared that there was enough evidence to file a warrant and everything to search neighbor B's house. So that's exactly what they did. They executed a warrant. They entered through the garage and they started digging everywhere. What they found is neighbor B had body armor and had magazines along with a bunch of ammunition, because neighbor B, at least at that point, was a border patrol agent for the state of New Mexico. So of course he was going to have all that stuff. Police found the ammo. Police found the magazines, the body armor, and they took everything to a car hood, and they started taking all the bullets out, and they started studying everything. And that's when they made the connection that the bullet that was behind the dog's head was the same bullet that neighbor B had. How do you call it? That's not where the evidence stopped, though. They kept going. Police kept digging, and that's when they were able to gather hair from neighbor B's car. And that's when it was matched up to have been the DNA hair of the dog from neighbor's A. Then they noticed that neighbor B's car had a dash cam. So they took the footage of the dash cam, reviewed everything, and they saw neighbor B had the dog. So now it's cut and dry. proof that neighbor B had the dog, proof that neighbor B had the ammo, proof that neighbor B was at the locations, because they also went to the locations the GPS went to, and they went to businesses, got the business footage, whoever had the camera set outside, and they found neighbor B's vehicle at the same time and location that the GPS caller for the dog was at. Of course, neighbor B tried to do some fake info or whatever. Neighbor B was arrested. Let me just oh, it was on October 18th. Yeah, October 18th is when the dog went missing and everything. Let's see. He was okay. Neighbor B was charged with 2 felonies, including extreme cruelty to animals and tampering with evidence. Understandable, reasonable. So they had him. They had him at the same location at the same time as to where the GPS caller showed the dog to have been at. They found the dog's hair in his vehicle. They found the same ammunition that was used to execute the dog in his garage. And they found the dash cam footage from his vehicle that showed him with the dog. It wasn't made clear whether he shot the dog in, how do you say it? While he was in his yard and then went to go dump him, or got the dog, put the dog in the car, then took him out and then shot the dog and left his body and everything like that. So, my money's on the latter. So, how do you say it? Man, this song isn't bad. Sorry, guys. Let me put this on. This music is super nice. Have you guys ever heard of the ODST theme and everything? It's so relaxing. Here it is. Just listen to it. How good that sounds. Like, you listen to this when you're out at night in your porch, your balcony, whatever, looking out the window, staring at the night sky, drinking a hot beverage. For me, it would be tea for me. And just like enjoying the view and just knowing that it's those moments in life that could be so simple that probably bring you the most relaxation and the most joy. That's just me, though. Anyways, back to the original topic I was on. So he was charged with 2 felonies. They found all those evidence on him. Of course, he was arrested. No word if he's still employed by Border Patrol, but after all this, I doubt it. I truly doubt it. The reason I say I don't know is because I was looking everywhere and I, for the life of me, could not find any update on this case aside from what's been put out in November of last year. So later on, I ended up finding out more information because this understandably became an outrage in the local area. You just have a Border Patrol agent kidnapped a dog out of somebody's property, took that dog, killed the dog, tried to hide his tracks, this and that. It could have gone down like that. There's no saying that it didn't. It could have exactly gone down like that. But ask yourself this: why were the neighbors feuding in the first place? Why were they arguing for each other for a while in the first place? What was the reason? Just some petty stuff? Something that absolutely had zero value to it, What I ended up finding out later on is that the reason both neighbors are feuding in the first place is because neighbor A, the owners of the dog, would not keep their dog on a leash and would not keep their dog in their property. So what happened? Well, neighbor B had chickens in his property, and neighbor A, because from what I'm reading, were negligent with the safety of their dog, with taking care of the dog and taking ownership and responsibility like dog owners should. The dog got out. The dog would get it into the neighbor's property and kill the neighbor's chickens. And that's why the argument started. Now it changed, huh? Now it's different. Because The reason they argued is because neighbor's A dog was killing neighbor's B's chickens. I don't know how many of you own chickens or anything like that. But for those who own chickens, whether it's for poultry, whether it's for eggs, whatever reason, maybe just pets, chickens are chickens. You want to take care of your chickens. Throughout entire history, people who had farms, who had coops, who had anything like that, let me turn this down a bit, they fought off animals who would try and kill their chickens because it's their chickens, you know? So that stayed the same throughout all of history. To this day, people are defensive about their chickens. They don't want coyotes or dogs or maybe just cats or whatever like that, because cats can throw down. Killing their chickens. So what do? They treat them like vermin. Take out their rifles, their handguns, whatever, and they shoot animals. So that's what I'm saying. That's also another reason as to why I'm saying don't know. They didn't make it clear whether the neighbor shot the dog first and then dumped it, or took the dog and then took it out, shot it, and then dumped it. You know, that stuff hasn't been 100% clarified yet. So now it's a different reason. Of course, there are people that, you know, because they have been so emotionally invested on the one-sided story of everything, that's where they want to stick. They can't see themselves moving from that area because that's not the story they went out spouting and believing and ingraining in their minds. But now this other information came out that it wasn't, it's a possibility that it wasn't just an act of malice or anything like that, of vengeance, of greed, or not greed, of spite. That's the better word. It very possibly has weight behind as to why the neighbor shot the dog. What the moral of the story is? Just control your animals. Control your dogs, man. If you can't control your dogs, you shouldn't have it, is what I say. I kept saying it in my last episode. You can't control your dogs, you shouldn't have your dogs. There was this one time I went to grocery outlet, walked in there, not grocery outlet, Albertsons, was doing a little bit shopping. Doberman, beautiful dog, one of the dogs I want to get at some point in my life. There was this 5-something girl, short or whatever. Oh my god, I haven't seen anybody do this in so long. Like literally, they were passing by. She was walking Doberman. Doberman, if it stood on its hind leg, 100% would be taller than her. So she was walking this Doberman, and this other person with a dog on a leash was crossing paths. All I see her do is grab the leash, give it a little tag, and go, leave it. And the dog left it. And they kept walking, minding their own business. And I was like, holy crap. Because when I was canine, that's what I used to do. That was one of the commands I would have to tell the canines. Leave it. And they would leave it. Just keep moving. Doing what we need to do. It was amazing. And I was like, that person deserves a dog. Another time I went down an elevator to go to work. And there's this woman with this relatively huge ass dog. And as soon as the doors opened, the dog just pulled her out of there. And she was like, oh my God, and everything. I was like, you don't need that dog. You can't take care of it. I swear, if that dog sees anything and it makes up in her mind, I'm chasing it, she won't be able to stop it whatsoever. She'll scream, hold on, and then fall to the floor and get dragged. It's insane. But yeah, even though that dog wasn't hurting humans, per se, if the second half of the story is to be believed, that dog was not being taken care of, was not being made to stay in the property, and was getting out and getting into the neighbor's property and killing the neighbor's chickens. And that's the messed up part. Because here's the thing. There's another story. Crap. See if I can find it. I'll post it up if I can find it. Well, anyways, these dogs kept getting it. These 2 dogs kept getting, or 3, in their neighbor's property. And this is from the perspective of the neighbors who had a chicken. There's a different story from the first one I just told right now. These neighbors have chickens. Their next door neighbors had 2 or 3 dogs. Their dogs kept going into the first neighbor's house, property, and killing the first neighbor's chickens. And the first neighbors reported it to animal control, reported it to the police, kept talking to the neighbors to control their dogs, and the neighbors were negligent. Like, our dogs aren't doing nothing. You're chickens. You're crazy. Don't blame our dogs. Here's the thing. One day the neighbor was home, the one who owned the chickens. And when he was home, he saw that the dogs got out of the neighbor's house and ran into his yard and started killing his chickens. So the neighbor who owned the chickens came out with his rifle, or a shotgun actually, and just blasted all 3 of those dogs. And you know what he did? He grabbed a trash bag for each one of them, and he put each one in a trash bag, carried it next door to his neighbor's house, and left the bodies of their dead dogs on the yard. And that's when the neighbors who owned the dogs came home, saw that, and started recording, because they knew their dogs were in there. And they opened the bags up. Exactly. The video's on YouTube. Like I said, if I can find it, I'll post it up and everything. And of course, there were some people who were mad, but here's the difference. The neighbor who owned the chickens came out with information, if not first, just as quickly as the neighbors who owned the now deceased dogs came out with the information to the public. So now people didn't really have time to invest and sympathize with the dog owners, because they now heard that, hey, you were given a fair shot and this guy has chickens to protect. You were the ones at fault. And you see how crazy different that story is? It's insane. People want to feel bad for dogs. I totally get it. I mean, like, I had to be there while one of my canines got put down. It was completely sad, and that was on Thanksgiving. It always sticks with me to this day. It sucks knowing that dogs have to go away one day, you know? But I also recognize that sometimes things like that only happen because the owner just doesn't take care of them, doesn't take charge or anything like that. And you also got to remember that owners that have chickens, you don't know if those chickens are even the owner's pets. Why is a dog, supposed to be more emotionally, what's the word I'm looking for? Why is a dog any more of a pet than a chicken is, you know? That's my whole thing. Well, dogs can hunt. Dogs can track. Cool. That's cool. Chickens can make somebody happy. And at its core, dogs are there to make their owners happy. I mean, come on. You know, that's why we all have an instinct. Well, at least I like to think most of us have an instinct or a natural feeling that whenever our dog or cat gets hurt or sick, we get worried. We're like, oh my God, we got to take care of them. Do anything we can to take care of them. You know, because at the end of the day, aside from the usefulness that they provide, they're companions. They're there for us emotionally and mentally, as we are there for them. So that's the first story. As far as I know that he's been arrested and he's been charged with 2 felonies for animal cruelty and tampering with evidence. So it kind of is looking like it's his fault. So that's just one thing. Draw your own conclusions on that. Second story. This happened in Seattle this time. Something also all dogs this episode. Don't worry, we'll close it off with something nice. So this happened in Seattle. So what had happened was that there was this one woman who, who was walking her dogs down the street and everything. They were passing by this neighbor's house. The neighbor's house had a fence surrounding their property, and this is, like I said, in Seattle. So the neighbor had a fence in their property. What you can see is 2 or 3 little white dogs, and they're barking. They're like, those little dogs annoy the hell out of me. I swear to God. It's like, why are you yapping? It's the smallest dogs that bark, not even the loudest, but the most, you know? Well, anyways, the lady was walking with 2 German Shepherds. German Shepherds look relatively young, like maybe a year old, 2, maybe, you know? But they look relatively young. That woman, I would say, is a decent dog owner, because the Dobermans weren't, not Dobermans, the German Shepherds. Why am I saying Dobermans? The German Shepherds weren't going crazy. They're like, oh my God, and losing control, making her fall or anything like that. They were walking. Here's the thing. So as the little dogs were yapping at her and her German Shepherds, it's annoying. I will agree with that 100%. It's just like, what the hell? But they were still in their property. They weren't digging underground. They weren't breaking through the fence. They weren't even hopping over the fence. They were too small and weak for any of that. They were just yapping. They were just talking. That's all they're doing. This lady comes out with some pepper spray or some gel spray, and she starts spraying all the dogs, all of them in the eyes with that pepper spray. So she keeps walking, she keeps bending over and spraying those dogs. She goes, sometimes it looks like she goes out of her way to spray the dogs, you know? And of course, they're all like, oh my God. And then they come back yapping, and she sprays them again while walking. She keeps spraying them. This is all caught on camera. The owners notice what happened. And here's the thing. The dogs had the residue of the spray on their face. The dog owners, I wouldn't even call them irresponsible, because they had the dogs stayed in their property. Like, anybody can yell anything while they are in their property if they're not causing any physical harm or attempting to cause physical harm to anybody, you know? Just go ahead and yell, let him yap, okay? It's annoying, but whatever. She walks away. She keeps walking away with her German Shepherds. The owners of the dogs who got sprayed exited, and they went to go find her, and they found her.
Please, can you stop?
¿Qué le echaste a la perra?
I don't know who you guys are. What are you talking about?
They have a
Spray.
camera?
You have a camera.
Yeah, I sprayed water
Okay.
at the dogs for
But
barking
what-
at mine.
Why?
Yeah, because they were barking at mine, and I just had surgery.
My dog is on my property.
Yeah,
This
they were
is
barking
my
at me.
property. You are on the street.
That's okay. They were interrupting my walk on public property, so I sprayed water at them.
Why? Why
Because
you do
they were
that?
barking and agitating my dog. Water is harmless.
No, you say you should
I
water
want to
it.
spray water wherever.
Now,
Well, it's what you say. We don't know what you...
where, ¿dónde está el agua? Tienes que le enseñe.
Show me your water.
Where?
I'm
Show
not
me the
giving
way.
you my spray
Okay, I call you the
water.
police.
I'm not.
Huh?
Have
Yeah.
fun with
You
that.
are on Facebook. You are on Facebook and everywhere.
Okay,
Okay.
fine. I don't know what you guys
You
are
have
doing.
a camera.
What's your problem?
I just
I
had
problem.
surgery.
Okay, walking
It's-
other side.
And they filmed, and they confronted her and everything like that. And they're like, what did you just do back there? She's just having the smug look like, whatever. And then they're like, what did you do? It's like, your dogs were yapping at my dogs and disturbing our walk. And I'm like, so it's a city. You're going to have dogs barking, all right? As long as you control yours and the other ones aren't even capable of doing anything to you or your dogs, so what? You know, just keep walking. You know, it's a walk. It's not a post up and chill there or anything like that. You're just walking through there. You're not even gonna be there for long. Well, anyways, they try and confront her to tell her what, to get her to say what she did, to admit to what she did. She was like, I sprayed them with water. And they're like, all right, show me the bottle. Show me the bottle then. And she wouldn't show them. She was like, I don't have to show you anything, you know? And she wouldn't show them. This went viral, of course. There's a lot of videos talking about these dogs, you know, about this situation. So it went viral. Her face plastered everywhere. And here's the thing. People found her identity. Laura, or what is it? Damn, I'm gonna like freaking butcher this, ain't I? I said that with such confidence. All right. Lauren Bonvini and everything like that. There's a Flickr profile from 2010. 2010, 12 years ago, of her, you know, drinking wine with her homies or whatever, you know. And the only comments that are now there on that Flickr profile are all negative about her and everything. So of course she went viral. And here's the thing. So people did what they do and find out who people are. So they started plastering her name everywhere. This is Lauren Bonvini. This is her. This is that. They found her job. They found her Facebook. They found all her social media profiles, and people started sending her messages. Sorry for my dishwasher in the back. They started sending her messages. They started doing all of this. They weren't leaving her alone. So finally, when they went to her place of employment profile page, the place of employment was like, just to let you know, Lauren Bonvini, she's no longer employed with us. She's no longer associated with us. This, and that, yada, 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 this and that. And people go like, hey, do you forget that public records are a thing? Did you forget that we can also look it up because they're public records? So they looked up the company. Lauren is 30 or 33% owner of the company. She can't be fired because she owns part of the company. So people are calling out the company even more, this and that. I was trying to find more information as to what happened, but honestly, there's nothing popping up for me at all. So as far as I know is, I wouldn't say her life is ruined, but it's not going to be the same again. Because take this for example. I myself, being born and raised in SF, there was this one night where my lady was showing pictures that her aunties took years ago when they went to go visit SF without any context or anything like that. There was no famous landmarks like the Golden Gate Bridge or Coit Tower or the Sutro Tower or the Bay Bridge or anything like that. But I was able to recognize the roads. I was able to recognize the architecture. I was able to recognize what's around in those photos, and I was able to call out the locations, the landmarks, the streets, because I grew up there. That's just ingrained in my mind. Even though I don't think I know that, I know it. Like the last time we went to go visit like a year ago in March, like I didn't need GPS for anything because I just knew where I was going despite spending years not driving those roads. So I know for a fact that there are people born and raised in Seattle that they recognize where that took place, where she sprayed those dogs. And I know that her walk with her dogs is never going to be the same at all, because I guarantee you people are there waiting for her. I guarantee you she's not walking down that same road where those little dogs were. She's finding alternate routes because she doesn't know the family's waiting for her. She doesn't know what's going to happen when she hits that road or anything. So it's just like her walks will never be the same, if she can even walk out there anymore with her dogs or by herself, because people can be crazy. The worst part about this, one of the dogs that she sprayed with the pepper spray lost an eye because of it. If I was that family, I would 100% sue for everything she has or everything I can get out of her. Because I know for a fact that dog, because there's a photo update of that dog without an eye, that dog needed to undergo surgery in order to have that eye removed, in order to have the surgery area taken care of, so it doesn't get infected, so it heals properly, etc., etc., etc. So those bills can't be cheap. And I'd be like, you're liable for everything. Just completely, like, you're stupid. You wanted your 10 minutes of fame because obviously it wasn't working for you in any other way. Even owning a company, nobody cared about you. And now you have it. And it's not the one that you wanted. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. So yeah, other than that, there's really nothing else you can say about that, to be honest. It was just a woman being terrible, thinking terrible. Oh yeah, also, before she deleted her Facebook, there's actually a post she made talking about how she hates yapping little dogs and how she recommends using gel spray instead of regular stream spray for pepper spray, because that way you won't get any blowback or anything like that. So what a terrible human. Other than that, let's end in a relatively positive note. A few episodes back, or I guess you could say a few months back at this point, I talked about this one occasion where these two youngsters were walking their dogs, and they found a cat sleeping at the bottom of the stairs at its owner's house, not bothering anybody. Behind a fence, also. Crazy how things can happen even when you're just chilling behind a fence on your own property. And, how do you call it? The two juveniles saw the cat, and they sicked their dogs on the cat, and the dogs started tearing that cat up and everything. And finally, when the owner came out, because it was all caught on camera, finally when the owner came out, the two juveniles grabbed their dogs and dipped. This happened in Philadelphia. Thing is, people, of course, this made huge headlines in the Philadelphia area, even around the world. And, people were trying to look for these two individuals. Finally, that Friday, the mother turned them in. One of them was 12-year-old. The other one is 17 years old and everything. And, despite doing something heinous, they're still minors. So their info can't be released like that. So they were charged with felony aggravated animal cruelty and conspiracy, and also charged for animal fighting. The thing is, even though those two are felonies, they aren't, offenses that would warrant juveniles to be tried as adults. So as far as I know right now, the 12-year-old isn't getting in trouble like that. 17-year-old, maybe, because they're just right there on the 18 line and everything. But it's possible that the 18-year-old will get no serious punishment aside from maybe community service or whatever. That's what I think. Well, anyways, back to Buddy the cat. Buddy the cat has healed and everything. I'll put a picture of him. Poor little guy. He got more than $100,000 in donations for the Pennsylvania SPCA, and he's been helped, and he's been healed, and he's been adopted. Yeah, he's been adopted. He's in a great family with another cat and everything. What's the other cat's name? Oh, what? So he was adopted by one of the veterinarians who helped save his life. Oh my God. And he has a brother now named Teddy. Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. He's doing great. He's healed up. The veterinarian who helped save his life is now his mom. What a lovely ending. Truly it is. But yeah, so that was the little update. I've been meaning to do it forever, and everything like that. But yeah, so, it's just animals. Bottom line, take care of your animals. You never know when one is just being an annoying little crap and barking at dogs, and then it gets pepper sprayed. Then maybe, I don't know, maybe your cat's just chilling and two little ass hats decides to stick their dogs on them. Terrible people, really. This is all people suck. Other than that, that's all I really gotta say. Mead, if any of you guys have not had it, highly recommend it. Truly, I do. I just had a nice glass of mead right now, and I feel pretty good. I hope you enjoyed the music in the background. I apologize for my dishwasher, but it is what it is. 2 more days of work. That's what I'm saying. 2 more days of work before my weekend. Other than that, this Monday it's going to be the 4-year anniversary of me and my lady. So excited to see what we do. All right, guys. Other than that, I gotta say thank you very much for joining me on this other episode of the Mando. Thank you very much for hearing my ranting. I know I don't say everything the smoothest at all times, so we have a continuous flow without any problems or anything, and that's what it's for. It's not supposed to be edited or rehearsed or anything. It's just us talking, Other than that, I gotta say again, thank you. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.